Fleet Commander Zix Thara of the Hegemony observed the tactical display with the calm confidence of a species that had conquered 17 star systems in the past decade. The massive Hegemony, dreadnought eternal dominion, hung in space like a metallic mountain, its kilometer-long hull bristling with plasma cannons and quantum torpedo tubes. Around it, 47 escort vessels maintained perfect formation, a demonstration of military precision that had broken the will of countless civilizations. "The humans have responded to our ultimatum," reported Subcommander Keth, his forearms manipulating the holographic interface with practiced efficiency. A single vessel approaches from the Sol system. Zix Thara's mandibles clicked in what passed for amusement among her species. One ship? Have they come to surrender? The tactical display updated, showing a human vessel emerging from hyperspace at the edge of the system. The Hegemony officers studied it with professional interest. It appeared to be roughly half the size of their flagship, with an unusual cylindrical design that seemed almost primitive compared to their sleek biomechanical architecture. "Curious construction," mused Science Officer Vorth. "No visible weapons arrays. Minimal armor plating. It appears to be more of a transport vessel than a warship." Zix Thara had studied human military doctrine extensively before this campaign. Their tactics were straightforward: massed formations, overwhelming firepower, and predictable strategic thinking. The humans had shown some cleverness in their previous conflicts with the Kralix Empire, but nothing that would trouble a superior military force like the Hegemony. "Open a communication channel," she ordered. "Let us see what pathetic plea they offer." The main screen flickered to life, revealing a human male in a crisp blue uniform. His name tag read Captain Martinez, and his expression carried none of the fear or desperation Zix Thara expected from a doomed commander. "This is Captain Elena Martinez of the UES Prometheus," the human said calmly. "You have 30 seconds to withdraw from this system before we consider you a hostile force." A ripple of what the humans might call laughter passed through the Hegemony bridge crew. Zix Thara leaned forward in her command throne, genuinely curious about this display of either courage or insanity. "Captain Martinez," she replied, "I am Fleet Commander Zix Thara. You face 48 warships of the Hegemony fleet. Your single vessel, whatever its capabilities, cannot possibly—" 20 seconds, Martinez interrupted. Zix Thara's primary eyes narrowed. This human's confidence was either admirable or delusional. "Very well. Weapons officer, target their vessel. Let us end this quickly." Unable to achieve weapons lock, the weapons officer reported, confusion evident in his tone. "The vessel appears to be shifting." On the tactical display, the human ship had begun to move in ways that defied conventional physics. It wasn't using visible thrusters or energy signatures, yet it was accelerating and changing direction with impossible precision. More disturbing still, it seemed to be occupying multiple positions simultaneously. "Temporal displacement field detected," Science Officer Vorth announced, his voice tight with alarm. "The vessel is operating across multiple timeline probability streams." Captain Martinez's image smiled grimly. "Time's up." What happened next would be studied in military academies for generations. The Prometheus didn't fire conventional weapons or launch missiles. Instead, it simply existed in 17 different probability states simultaneously. In each timeline, it occupied a different position relative to the Hegemony fleet. The first Hegemony destroyer didn't explode, it simply ceased to exist as the Prometheus occupied the same quantum space across 3 different probability streams. The laws of physics, forced to choose which version of reality to accept, collapsed the destroyer into a point of infinite density that lasted for exactly 0.3 seconds before dispersing into harmless energy. "What sorcery is this?" Zix Thara demanded, watching as 3 more ships vanished in similar fashion. "It's not sorcery," Captain Martinez replied, her image now coming from multiple timeline streams simultaneously. "It's what happens when a species faces extinction and decides that the laws of physics are more like suggestions." The human vessel continued its impossible dance through space-time. Hegemony ships fired desperately at targets that existed in 17 different realities, their weapons passing harmlessly through quantum echoes, while the real Prometheus struck from angles that shouldn't have been possible. "Full retreat," Zix Thara ordered, her tactical confidence crumbling as she watched half her fleet disappear into quantum foam. "All ships, emergency hyperspace jump." But escape required predictable physics, and the Prometheus had turned the battlefield into a maze of overlapping probability streams. Hegemony vessels, attempting to jump to hyperspace, found themselves scattered across 17 different timelines, their crews experiencing the deeply unpleasant sensation of existing in multiple realities simultaneously. In less than 10 minutes, the pride of the Hegemony fleet had been reduced to a handful of ships fleeing in completely random directions, their crews traumatized by their first encounter with human quantum warfare. Captain Martinez's voice followed them across all probability streams. "You thought war was about bigger guns and stronger ships. You never considered that the most dangerous weapon might be the willingness to break reality itself rather than surrender." As the surviving Hegemony vessels limped back to their homeworlds, carrying tales of humans who could weaponize the fundamental nature of existence, Zix Thara stared at her tactical display in something approaching reverence. She had studied human military history, their world wars, their nuclear strategies, their space battles with the Krallics. But she had failed to understand the most crucial aspect of human warfare. When faced with extinction, humans didn't just think outside the box. They dismantled the box, rebuilt it according to their own specifications, and then used it as a weapon. The Hegemony's war against humanity ended that day, not with a formal surrender, but with the quiet understanding that some species were too dangerous to fight. Not because of their technology or their numbers, but because they possessed something far more terrifying: the audacity to rewrite the rules of war itself when survival demanded it. In the aftermath, as diplomatic channels opened and peace accords were hastily drafted, Captain Martinez sent a final message to the Hegemony leadership. War isn't about understanding violence. It's about understanding your enemy's willingness to sacrifice everything, including the very nature of reality, to protect what they love. The Prometheus had taught the galaxy a lesson that would echo through the ages. Never assume you understand war until you've fought someone who refuses to accept that losing is possible.